Truly California is a KQED production, presented in association with the Bay Area Video Coalition and Film Arts Foundation.
Varokis kun maharatan pekhareja. Kourua kun kupit. Pahut pekhareja o kupit yani virva kun kupit. Katva pakun amtan pekhareja. Virva kis pakun amte. Vakuni peranik vek pakun amte hes. Pekhareja ama kun amtenik. Groen kun patasal. Ama hakan groen. Waarom kun kuppelvoer tehnik? Ik ga je achak jamas. Moet kun ippen tehnik. Waarom is pak kun kuppe tehnik? Pap kanten is kun view kan ik. Kaswa kun panik. Kem is pak kun amte. Kem is avaha. Is dit een tania avaha. A chip panik wa araras. Pakis precies. Waar kun avanik pap getis avaha. Verita con wistar, pura con wistar. Puran con ipern, pura amayav, kasta con pip. Ne kata vara puim tihara. Na tane av pasara. Kaskoura papis niches, karo pa kev nikiches. Kara kaskon avanik. No ta efestimages, pava no apono, pava pe karayara con kupitihani. Pa con ampehar. Pamit kini pender panunu tapin. Virva nu karo pata pukin amtehar. Pamit vakini perat veku amtehes. Puutes panunu ifat va ifaputsa.
Hey, over, hey, over, hey, over, hey, over, hey, hey, over, hey, hey, away, hey, hey, away, hey, 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 over, hey, hey, away, hey, hey, away, over, hey, hey, over, hey, hey, away, over, hey, hey, over, hey. Hey, you way, hey, hey, you roll, hey, hey, you way, hey, 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 yo, hey, hey, you roll, hey, 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 yo, hey, hey, you roll, hey, 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 you way, hey, you way, yo, hey, hey, yo.
We're the first ones here in this part of the world, and this extreme northern part of California, you know. We were the first people here. And we've managed to survive here for centuries by the laws that were given to us by the great Creator. And I believe, I'm a very religious man, and I believe that if we abide by his rules and his regulations and his rules and his laws, we can't go wrong.
While there are new burdens and new people who think they own this place and think that they are the responsible for management, the only true managers of this place are the people who are connected to it. And the people who are connected to it are Karuk people. And those are the only people who have ever been connected to it. That sense of connection is one that's not factored in to modern day, let's say, science, I guess, with different land management agencies. That's the missing link for them, and what inhibits their ability to manage the resources or to manage this country, this place, is their lack of connection to this place. These land management agencies adopt the philosophy of the larger society. They don't see what we see. There's an assumption by these land management agencies and these people in positions of power who make decisions. They think that they can understand us because they can hear the words that we say. Because we can speak English, we can understand it, we can write it. But their ability to understand what we're saying is no greater than it was 150 years ago when we didn't speak English. It's not within their psyche to even grasp the concepts that our value systems are based upon. They're too dissimilar. They can't comprehend things that are intangible to them spiritually. They can barely comprehend things that are physical.
The fish and water are the world. They are the culture. You can't separate little components out and say, this is a fish, let's count them, let's count their value. This is a gallon of water, let's count it and count its value. And this is a tree, you have 5 of them, why do you need 1 more? And what does this have to do with religion? It is religion. You can't separate the physical world from the culture. To use the best technical term that gets close to it, is it's a cultural landscape.
This landscape that surrounds us is the same landscape that has subsisted Karuk people for thousands of years. So when we talk about protecting our country and our world, we're not just concerned about artifacts or cultural resources. No, we're concerned about everything, because everything has an effect. And all of the resources that are here, we don't look at the trees as commodities that we can cut up into lumber and sell. We don't look at that water down there and say, well, that's worth $3 a cubic foot if you sell it to somebody who's growing corn. No, this country supplies us with our food, supplies us with our medicine, and this particular place is our world, it's our country.
When a white man first came into our area, we welcomed him. We helped him out. We let him survive, live side by side with us. And because we understood the meaning of life, that all people have a right to. And that's our rule. We had what I term as a shattered existence with the mining. They tried to send us down the Hoopa reservation, and then for whatever reason, all the people didn't want to go down there, and so then they just end up fleeing off into the hills, and they were termed unfriendly, so they were shot at sight by the United States Cavalry. And we still have those places, strongholds today that were passed on to us and that are very important to us, that we go in times of desperation or need. But it was a shattered existence that after the miners went away and everything calmed back down, we melted into the modern day lifestyle that was presented to them when they came back out of the hills. When They're tired of starving, and they're tired of being afraid and running. Resources extraction has been the downfall of this whole system. First, it was mining. They come in and rip apart all our tributaries in our river. Every mine was basically at a creek, which was a fishery, and there used to be. The Creator only knows how many fisheries we had in 70 miles of river.
Back in the 20s, it was bad. It wasn't good for the people here on the river. But some of the people toughed it out. My family, Conrad family, and the McLaughlin family, they all stayed here, sniped the river for $1, $2 a day, and raised 8, 10 children in the family. They worked hard. And we depended on this river. We depended on the woods, the forest out here to provide us with a living, We appreciated it. And those are the ones that stayed here and kept the ceremonies going, kept the Pikyav here. There was a handful of us.
The salmon, the Chinook salmon, is the lifeblood of our system. Everything revolves around the Chinook salmon. The fish need water to survive, to thrive at a robust population, so we can go out and fish. And the traditional values, our cultural values, our religious values are affected by anything that goes on in the river, because that's the thing that keeps us going to who we are. Since time immemorial, we've been fishing down there, and we've been giving fish, and we've been making medicine. We've been doing all the things that make us who we are.
The tribes in the Northwest, in Washington and Oregon, signed treaties, and their treaties were ratified. And even though they've had to struggle with the fishing rights issues, at least they were fairly clear. Down here, we started confused 150 years ago, and we're still confused today.
The fact that a reservation was never created within our homelands until recent years, that is one of those historical circumstances that is indeed accurate, but Karuk people have never stopped fishing. We've never signed away our lands. We've never, we signed a treaty, it wasn't ratified. They took our lands, and in return for what? In return for nothing.
They started out taking our land, they took our gold, took our women, killed all our men. Then they started with the fur. The Forest Service came in, changed all the vegetation type, got rid of all the resources that the people used here for thousands of years. It was to, they were on a mission to get rid of it and turn everything into fir trees, and they did a good job of it. They succeeded. They haven't destroyed all the cultural resources, but come damn close to it.
Look close underneath this stuff here.
This is all not.
They're so set in their ways that They know more than nature that I don't think they can ever change. They, the culture they brought to this country is foreign altogether to what our culture is. The white man, when he came to this country, he wants to own everything. He's the owner. This is their culture. And it's completely opposite from the Indian culture. Indian culture, you don't own nothing. This water coming down this river has to do with everything in this part of the country. If you like to go out and you like to see eagles fly the river, fish hawks fishing on the river, if they don't protect this water, it does away with everything. And anybody that likes to eat fish or likes to catch fish, it also affects them. Because sooner or later you haven't got this. When you run out of fish, you run out of everything.
It all has to do with, like the availability of fish. And when you maintain the integrity and the health of your watersheds to be able to have healthy, productive salmon runs, then that means that you've also provided and afforded protection for the rest of the components in that ecosystem. And I think that's, more and more we're finding out scientifically just how important salmon are as a good umbrella species for evaluating aquatic health. Today, when looking at the management of the woods and the forest resources, I think there's a lack of ecological understanding by the current land managers that the indigenous people still hold and have an understanding of. And you only get that through living generations upon generations in the same place. And understanding that as Native people with their fire, with their management, you see that how that biological relationship can work out. As we define our culture, as we define ourselves, it very much is a product of our landscape. Anthropologists termed Native people of California, and particularly Yuroks, Hupas, Karuks, as salmon acorn people. In a very simplistic way, yeah, we are. But it's more also a product of the land in which they live. They're going to mirror, in many ways, or actually be right there, a mirror image of, and a product of their local environment. And when we were talking about regalia, and all the items that you see that are danced with, that's a reflection of the biological diversity and productivity of your landscape.
It's a cultural landscape. Everything in it is related. And that's the way that the tribal people have always looked at it. And finally, some biologists in certain circles are beginning to use the words ecosystem management, which means everything has to work together. The only thing with ecosystem management is they're still mostly leaving the people and their hearts and their feeling and their culture out of it, which is also a part of it. It's a whole.
My dad had that place down there. Every 3 years, they burnt that hillside in the fall.
For a gathering site?
It was all gathering sites. You'd see the old Indian women going out to pick that was where they picked their acorns. No bugs, Right. Had to be burnt every 3 years. When you, in the wintertime, when you went to gather your mushrooms, you went right up there with a big old gunny sack. You got all the mushrooms you needed right there. Your deer was right there because that's where the mushrooms were, and that's where the acorns were. They don't like buggy acorns either. But then the Forest Service and the government become knowing that nothing that they don't know. So you can't burn no more. Like if you raise an apple tree right now, you probably got half a dozen bug holes in every apple. That's because of non-burning. Your grapes are the same way. When you burn, this is nature's way.
Our knowledge and our history of what was passed down to us, there wasn't any catastrophic events with fire like this. It was all, most of it all low intensity. We used low intensity fire. High intensity fires was what changed a lot of the vegetation patterns all across the landscape. Anything that doesn't survive fire, according to our religious beliefs, didn't belong here. Our ancestors used to burn a certain time of the year, which then was in summertime. The lightning took care of all the high country, and we took care of the stuff in the lower country,
People have this idea that Indians just went around lighting fires, and which is how it appeared to non-Indians when Europeans first got here, and they had a lot of heartburn over it. They just thought that, these Indians have to be stopped because they just have this have this thing about starting fires. Well, they weren't just lighting fires; they were managing a landscape that those same people who feared that practice, although they appreciated the results, they didn't even know they appreciated the results. They thought it was a pristine wilderness. It was beautiful. It was abundant. It was all those things that they wanted to keep, but without really understanding that in order to keep it that way, they had to allow these Indians to go on managing it because that's how it got that way. Through fire suppression nationwide came the destruction of native cultures nationwide, came the destruction of the most powerful management tool that native people had in their toolbox to manage this landscape and to manage the resources in this landscape. They lost the ability to do that because they lost fire as a tool.
We've evolved through time on managing this forest, being the steward of this forest, to take care of this vast wilderness the best way that the Creator prescribed to us through the use of fire. We created park-like settings, large areas that produce acorns, our basketry materials, our tool-making materials, our medicinal plants. We don't have those anymore because of this fire suppression, because we have all this overgrowth, all these plants are taking up the energy, the sun, and water. The water is substance to life, and that's what this is taking. It's basically it's got a stranglehold on life. All this understory, because the pristine water that should be in the river that helps out the migration of the salmon. the acorns that we used to eat, and it used to keep us nice and slim and trim and healthy. The acorns don't fall off the trees like they used to. The salmon don't run up the rivers like they used to. Like I said, we don't have our medicinal plants. So right now, it's my belief that we're in a state of turmoil. Our bodies they're programmed to use the natural things, natural resources that were given to us by the Creator. And if we started management in the proper way with the use of fire, not only the health of our people rise, but I think that the health of the region will rise.
When the Creator got the spirits together and asked them what they wanted to manifest themselves into be, physically and biologically on the landscape, and then when those first beings were instructed by Creator, those spirits, that whatever they turn into physically, that they would have a teaching to the people. And as long as the people upheld that responsibility, things would run and function right. Everything has its responsibility, and I think that's what people shared with the rest of the beings, the rest of the animals and plants and birds and everything, was that you have a responsibility through your life and how you're used and how you conduct yourself.
This is one area, because it is hard to get a bear grass burn going because of a lot of restrictions, both monetarily and, for different types of species. This is kind of a byproduct of the fire, the backburn. So it's been an area that we've been able to utilize for a couple of years now. It seems like since we do have a start, it was something that happened as a byproduct of something else, but still we have this in a condition that we need it in, and so it'd be really nice if we could just keep running fire through here and keep this kind of going on a rotation cycle to provide the bear grass.
They didn't have the borate bombers and the helicopters with the buckets and stuff. When I was little, and I know when there was a lightning strike, it might take those guys several days to walk into it. And so it burned. The Forest Service keeps maps of the areas that have had a fire on them. So I stopped the other day and got a map. And they're all marked where the fire was. And so what I'll do is just go out and check these areas where they've had the fire to see if there's anything that could be harvested off of it. Because as one way, we'll get our materials that have been burned, if they have been burned, because we do have a hard time getting the Forest Service to burn what we have out there. With natural fire, it's just a natural fire, and nature's doing it. Anymore, you have to just take what you get. You can't change a lot of policies, so just do it.
What gets me that we have to fight for what little bit we want, and it's not
very much.
A couple acres here, a couple acres there. They think you want the whole hillside.
We'd like to have the whole
hillside. But I mean, all we want is enough to get us by for another year.
So your interest in weaving, though, was it wasn't prompted by a person or an event. It just kind of happened.
No, I had the interest in the baskets, and I was gathering. Buying them, and I didn't live around here. But when we moved back, I had the opportunity to take classes. Really got into it then. Grace was the ones that taught me how to do all the material gathering and how to prepare it.
How old were you, Verna?
About 30.
Uh-huh. So you came to it after you'd already kind of looked around then, huh?
Yeah.
Almost there. I know, just around that bend. But I forgot what it looks like again.
Payum Iknish, which is a Shasta word on top. And underneath the medicine part is Kishwoof. We'd stop here, and I was a little girl, and we'd climb up the mountains in our garden, and then we dig up our plant, and then we put rocks back on it and cover it back up with dirt so that our garden will continue. And as you see, there's just it's been here for centuries, and it just continues to be. And other people see this as just a bunch of rocks and a bunch of brush, but I see it as our future, as our continuance, as our growth.
My aunt always told me this: anything that is Indian is hard. It's real hard. It's hard to make, it's hard to gather, it's hard to do. But it's well worth it and worth the effort. Everything that an Indian has can be made. And you have to prioritize your resources to go get the things and assemble enough supplies and stuff to make the things that you need. And there's adversity no matter when and how you get into it and when you start it, because it takes some real good people to work together and maintain consistency and have the same goal and the same effort, work towards the same thing to try to restore something and get something going and keeping it good.
Now this here, and this hat is the wind design. These are the clouds with the rain coming through. You know, I seen this design when I was just a little child. I went to a funeral up in T-Bar. Must have been in the late 20s sometime. And they had a casket on sawhorses under a tree outside. I couldn't look in, I was that small, you know. Uh-huh. So they held me up so I could look in, and she had a cap on like that.
Oh, really?
And that cap just caught my eye. So I went home and I drew it on a piece of paper. And I still got that drawing someplace over in my trunk near the trailer.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm. This had black fern over, and it's worn off during the years.
One of the things that I think of is sustainability of the culture, of to know what plants you can use for what. And that is cultural knowledge. Whenever you get around the kids, you know, you tell them whenever any opportunity that you have, or the older people too, you know, who a long time ago when they were taking kids away from their families here. So you have, you know, a generation in there being removed from their people. Like my dad, times on the river were so hard, he said, that he just moved away. And he never came back. And there was a generation like that. And then other people I talked to, they said, well, a lot of people moved to the city when times were hard here, but other people just dug their heels in and stayed and did whatever they could to survive on the river. I always think, you know, the miners came, and they took the gold and they left. The timber people came, they took the trees, and there was nothing else they left. The Indian people are still here, and they'll always be here. And they'll just adapt, you know, to whatever happens, but then still have this this tie with the land where they go out and they gather, and this feeling of oneness. You know, I'm not a visitor to the forest, I'm part of it.
These forests provide what they've provided to Karuk people for tens of thousands of years is they've provided our homes, they've provided our food, they've provided everything that non-Indian cultures have. It's our pharmacy, it's our drugstore, it's our home, it's our food. It provides all of those things, and it can provide all those things for non-Indian communities as well, but they have to learn to share the same values and learn how to manage and use these forests and these resources in a way that will subsist communities, not in a way that drains resources out of the community for the good of the whole, money into the treasury, doesn't do anything for these communities that are starving here within our territory up and down the river, and the vast wealth that's been extracted out of these communities hasn't come back to benefit our economy, Indian, non-Indian alike.
Most work you did all week.
Is it?
Yeah, I don't believe it.
The Indian natives use this type of wood. This is a spiritual, sacred wood for building their ceremonial structures. My grandmother said a long time ago they chip boards, they slab boards right off of standing trees.
Oh, really?
They'd chip, use elk bones or whatever and chip and slab it off of a tree. Then they went to another tree, and then that would heal back over. Then a few years, later they could come back and they could take more.
Here comes Cook.
When we came here in the beginning as spirit people, we sort of helped make this world to benefit who we are. It's our beliefs, our ancestors has taught us that some of the people the spirit people that originally came here chose to be these resources. So the way I look at this whole world is it's part of our family, it's our family. We're the same people who were here 1,000 years ago, and we sort of understand the same medicine. Even though we're living in a different society, we're still those same Indians, and I think we still have the same potential to govern ourselves to where we could all live to be happier people and sort of bring back some of those morals of looking out for each other and caring for who we are.
He's on it working on the, put his hand off. Working on the,
From the way we believe, we've been here forever. Thousands of years before Christ was born. Science says we wandered in here from someplace.
You got it.
Our religion tells us we was born here. We come here from a spiritual world as spirit people.
You didn't quit while you're ahead, eh?
I believe that. I don't believe that we believe that for all those years. I don't think we believe that for nothing.
oh, I don't know, I've seen both of them. I keep only seeing one song. Oh. So he always likes that song. He's gonna learn that one up. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
Baby sing song. World War I, I was just, as it was getting over that, I was born. There was a lot of people that had kind of adjusted to the to the white man ways, you know. Then here comes the Second World War, which we kind of prospers there, but it took a lot of people away from this country, you know. A lot of our younger people, a lot of them moved to cities, relocated, and some of the people that relocated, they never, once in a while you see a few back here. Some have returned, but very few. And we were just pretty well interrupted by a different culture. You know.
Okay, I guess it's christened. I'll let her smoke up a little bit more.
You take a gander before you stick that back on.
Yeah. In the case of Karuk, you know, we're not around by accident still today. We're not around because it's easy to do. We're around because there were people who placed value on being Karuk. They placed value on their religion. They placed value on their culture and weren't willing to give it up. And in a lot of cases, that meant that they had sacrificed their lives.
When the Creator put us here on earth, He prescribed to us. He prescribed to us how to take care of the forest, how to take care of all the animals, everything that lived in the forest. And not only that, how to survive among other people.
Our religion, Karuk religion, has the ability to fix the world. And that's because of our fix the world ceremonies that we do that are the basis of our religion. People say, that's silly, how can one believe in such a thing? Well, it's easy enough to believe in when you consider that science is nothing more than trial and error over time, cause and effect. And Karuk religion is based on trial and error and cause and effect over thousands of years of close observation of nature. And so through that ancient science, that's what gives us the ability to fix the world, is by applying those principles that are found in nature and expanding upon those and using those very same principles that are found in nature to heal itself. It's very important that the non-Indian community place some sort of value and at least have an understanding of the importance and value of our religion. Our religion is based on managing these forests and this landscape. And it's a big circle, and it comes back. The landscape feeds our religion feeds the landscape back in return for that. We were given the knowledge and understanding of what we had to do in order to survive as a people. We were told what ceremony, how to conduct them, and through the conduct of our ceremonies came the management practices for the fishery, for the acorns, for the deer, for all of those things and the management of those resources. That knowledge was given to us, provided to us by the Creator at the beginning of time. We were given the formula. We conduct our ceremonies every year. We give thanks for the fish we caught last year. We pray for an abundance of fish this year. We treat the fish with a certain respect.
We need to change the way things are being managed now. And until we can come together and get an understanding that, hey, we are not enemies here. We are people that are trying to find a solution for this forest. And we're going to be able to do it together. And if it's not together, there's always going to be a hindrance by one or the other. One's going to say that they know it, the other one's going to say they know. But if we put our sciences together, I think we come up with something that we can both agree on, so we can start implementing projects to be able to focus on managing this forest correctly.
It's not to the point where it can't be fixed. It don't take much, you know. People have to come to an understanding and be educated to the way it's supposed to be.
And it's kind of like this old tattered basket of like what's remnants from those materials that were in those processes and those ways of life in the past. Is now I'm kind of going back through and weaving some of those threads, you know, or like an old net, you know, you're back in there mending that net again to make it functional. There's been some holes in it, so now it's a process of rebuilding.
Yeah.
And so I think we see that, like with bringing back the dances at Tashunik, these places, bringing back museum pieces that were originally from those places and reconnecting that, you see, some of that old time regalia with the new regalia to add the continuity to it, to bring it through together again.
People are bringing back the dances and are bringing back the ceremonies, and it's the first place to gather and the first place to do things. And that's your start. That's your beginning, and it's been absent for a long time. And it takes a lot of effort just to hold that together and bring it back. And the young kids that come around and spend all night and don't want to miss some of the action, and they want to dance every dance, and they want to be there, will sleep right by the fire if they have to, because they don't want to miss it. And those are the people that have an interest. Everybody's life changes, and how they live and what it takes to survive is a little bit different with everybody else. Jobs are a big thing. People want to raise a family. They have to leave the area to get a job or come back. It's not an easy life, and that's what makes it difficult. The old ways are, you know, I mean, it'd be hard to try to get it back where you could go out and gather what you needed to eat and survive by subsistence out there. It's almost an impossibility nowadays.
If we don't do it now, a lot of it's going to get lost this next generation. A lot of our knowledge of who we are and what we pray for, who we pray to, and how we do it is going to be lost forever. We still have a chance. We still have this knowledge still living, still breathing, still walking around us. And if we don't reach out and grab that now, we may never get a chance. I might not ever be able to tell my babies of how to pray correctly, how, you know, what my grandpa used to do, how he used to interact with nature.
We are Fix the World people. That is who we are. And that is a summary of our mandate from the Creator. We're charged with fixing the world, and that doesn't end. You don't finish a project and say, okay, well, now I'm finished. It's not like that. It involves managing a landscape to ensure that humans are a part of that landscape. The landscape requires people, and the people require the landscape. And so our vision of the future is essentially our vision of the past. Achip. Siftanen achip. That's the center. Well, when we say Siftanen, we say Okpai nanu nani Siftanen. Okpai no ifat karuwurapie bararash chami up. We say this right here is our country. Siftanen means this is our country, but it also means the world. It means the universe. Siftanen means all of that. It means everything. And to us, this place is everything in that this country supplies us with all of the physical things that we need to survive as human beings, but it also provides the spiritual sustenance that we require as human beings as well. It encompasses and encapsulates everything that is physical as well as spiritual.
Benefici păcăriv, pomoci viițul. Aspăsic te avanță, ia sararas. Spăcătar. Psioks knik fukra benefici. Neneop. Neneop. Poar. Eme de goedheid. Op de woonvak benefici. Eme de goedheid. Zie. Kamer, waarom is één? Kopen me kustan zo goed assen. Goed assen van na de benefici te kunnen serieus. Benefici de kunnen schurpen moedrag, bijker moedrag. Kopen me niet op. Benefici pakken even. Hey.